Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to GT7. This time I'll be starting my coverage of the update 1.27 cars, starting off with probably the, I guess, most unique one of the bunch, that being the Ferrari VGT. Now, to be honest, every kind of post-launch VGT for Gran Turismo 7 has been pretty lackluster, and it's really kind of just turned me away from them. Usually, I'm kind of very lenient with them, but I wasn't really having high hopes for this one. I wasn't going to think it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread, but the Ferrari kind of badge did appeal to me. It's something unique, it's something that's been years in the making, and I'm happy to say that although it's finally in the game and finally actually, happened, it's definitely actually not a disappointment. So I am happy to say that it only really has a single downside. So we'll get that bit out of the way first, we'll get the negative thing done. And that to me is the hybrid system this thing uses. It's a bit of a disappointment. It drains really, really quickly, and it seems really, kind of a bit of a struggle to get it to charge back up again. Before you know it, the slight bit of boost that you've kind of, charged back up under braking is completely drained, pretty much instantly after exiting the corner. It's very, very difficult to sort of manage the hybrid system with this thing. I know it's quite a common thing with a lot of the kind of hybrid powered cars within GT7, but this one just seems to have that little kind of extra bit in terms of draining itself very, very quickly. But that's it. That's the negatives out the way and done with. To be honest, if you're kind of looking for a car that's customizable, I guess you could say that this really doesn't have any tuning options. But apart from that, as a car that, you can just jump in and go in, it's a very impressive car. It really does feel quite solid out of the box. Like, there's nothing I'd really change on it. I absolutely love the way this thing drives. Whilst it does kind of suffer with a bit of kind of understeer, that's mostly just through the power delivery. You have to, use quite a bit of, sort of throttle control and such. Overall, it's a solid car. It drives really well. The amount of downforce on this thing is pretty incredible. Whilst it's not kind of at the level of something like, say, like the Super Formula, which, to be honest, still to this day blows my mind how much downforce that thing has within this game. It is still very, very high. It sticks to the ground. That rear diffuser doing everything it can to keep this thing planted. You never feel like it's going to quite break away, and it's able to really, really carry its speed. In all honesty, as on edge as this lap was, I always felt like I was in control of the car, and I honestly feel that's when GT7 is at its best. So I did kind of want to compare this to the McLaren VGT, but to be honest, it's a lot less brutal in terms of the way it kind of launches itself and it kind of throws itself through the corners. It's a lot more controllable. I would honestly say, if anything, it's probably a little bit of a step down in terms of its performance from that car, in the fact that it's, like I said, more controllable, easier to use and such. But I'd say overall this is definitely the better package, and I'd probably say that because, like I said, the control over it, the speed it can carry is just really actually quite mind-blowing, to be honest. Its ease of use honestly makes me think that a lot of people are going to enjoy this a lot more than they would some of the more kind of aggressive, more kind of out of the world VGTs, where they're kind of, insanely difficult to master. You spend half your time trying to get used to it, and then you just kind of get fed up with it because you just feel like, as on edge as you're trying to drive it, getting its maximum potential, you can't quite do it because the car is just, too twitchy, or kind of just wants to spit you out and throw you into the barrier. It's completely opposite with this car. It's really, really a solid overall package. But that's from a driving perspective. Let's talk about the looks, because I think that's kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to this car. I honestly don't think it looks that bad. The more I see it, the more I'm kind of getting used to it. I think at first, when I first saw it and I saw the, really quite nice front looking end, I honestly think it really does take some sort of hints from like the LMP1 machines. But then I saw that, ridiculously what looks like a large rear. It was just really kind of off-putting. The insane wheels, like, they look absolutely huge. That diffuser just sticking all the way out, the weird kind of, brake bar across the back. It was really kind of just confusing at the back. Like, at the front, it looked looks, you know, like it's taken sort of hints from other Ferraris as well as kind of upcoming Ferraris, like I said, the Le Mans hypercar especially, but then at the rear it's all kind of jumbled up and very strange looking. But the more I kind of use it and the more I see it, it really just doesn't bother me. It kind of, you know, suits, I guess. It's one of those things that'll probably grow on you over time. I think if you kind of take it at first glance, you'll probably absolutely hate this thing. The only way I could really compare it to is probably like a Hot Wheels car, which sounds really kind of strange, but in all honesty, that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's sort of like a bit of a real life Hot Wheels car. One thing I do really like about this, in all honesty, is the exhaust exits. They are on top of the kind of rear end of this car. You can see them, you know, kind of as the camera angle sort of pans around, and at night, yes, it does spit flames out of there, and I just think it looks absolutely incredible. In fact, myself and my subscribers in an open lobby took a bunch of these things out to Daytona at night, and the amount of flames and sparks coming off of this thing from that big diffuser scratching the ground was just honestly amazing. It looked really, really cool. So overall, I'd have to say this has probably gone to the, you know, probably the top of the list in terms of VGT cars, just for the way it drives, the way it sounds, which, here you go. With a good set of headphones or a good speaker system, this thing is incredibly bassy and incredibly deep and aggressive. It really sounds awesome. I just really cannot fault this car. I think it's an absolutely great machine. It's really grown on me, and I'm very pleasantly surprised, especially from going into it thinking that it was going to be a disappointment with kind of the things that we've got recently, like the Porsche Spider and the Suzuki VGT. So there we go. Overall, this is a solid package. But that's not where the interesting things end. You obviously do get a custom race suit for this, which is very kind of weird. It almost looks like something out of a Marvel film. It's that kind of out of this world. But the interior itself is kind of very minimalistic, but also very impressive. One thing I absolutely love about this interior is just the sense of speed you get. It's really quite insane. You also have the wheel, which is very actually interesting. We kind of looked at this in a bit of detail when we was kind of going in my lobby and doing some practice laps, but it does actually note things like your track map. So it'll tell you what track you're on. It'll also tell you your tyre wear. So as you can see on the right, there's kind of little green bars. I will slow the onboard footage down soon, which you can see a bit more detail. It has your fuel, your boost. It also has kind of, you know, how much space you've got, which is a little red bar that constantly moves depending on where you are on the track. It's just really quite mind-blowing. It's a very detailed steering wheel and really does kind of add to just the kind of technology that's gone into this car. So here you can see it in a bit of a slowed down motion. I just honestly think it's very impressive. Do excuse the shadows coming over the car, but yeah, as you can see, the amount of detail just on the wheel itself is just incredible. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you are going the speeds where it's really quite difficult to really take it all in, but when you slow it down and just appreciate just the minor things they put in, it's just absolutely incredible. Spot on design there. So overall, you can see my individual sectors here. We did it in 5 minutes 43 seconds 0.225, which is a very quick lap, I must say, and this puts the Ferrari VGT in 5th place overall. Whilst it felt amazingly quick, like it was a very impressive lap, it was on edge the whole time but still always under control. It actually comes out slower than the 908 HDI from 2010, but honestly, don't let that put you off. This car is just an incredible feeling. The sense of speed is there. I mean, really everything with this car is very top-notch put together for a car that's, well, a VGT. So there we have it, one of my instant favourites in terms of the VGT collection, and honestly, if you just judge it off of what it looks like and such, you're missing out a lot. This thing is really, really fun to drive. Now, a lot of us should have it from the free viewers question, the day 4 one, so you should have it for free. A lot of people got gifted that. If you haven't, it does come to the brand central on the 23rd of December, so make sure you keep an eye out for this. I'm going to assume it'll be around the same price as all the others at 1 million. which is really a pretty decent price in all honesty. So there we have it. That is the Ferrari VGT review over and done with. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from myself. I upload GT7 content each and every day. Discord, Twitter, donation link, that's all in the description down below. So thank you so much, and I'll see you all later. Take care, guys. Peace.